Christmas-themed movie sequels aren't uncommon, but what is uncommon is when they're outstanding. So how is this recent iteration of the Netflix holiday comedy, The Princess Switch 3: Romancing the Star? When a priceless relic is stolen, Queen Margaret and Princess Stacy enlist the help of Margaret's cousin Fiona, who teams with a man from her past to retrieve it. Vanessa Hudgens returns for the third time, playing several identical-looking characters. In each of the Princess Switch films, she takes on a different dominant persona, and this time the focus is on the black sheep of the family named Fiona, who was introduced to us in the second film. The premise for this story is that an artifact is stolen and the queen and princess need to get it returned before an international incident is caused. Now, if you've seen either of the first two films, you kinda know what to expect and what you're getting yourself into if you press play. Vanessa Hudgens plays three roles, each with different characteristics and accents, and I think she does a really good job of crafting different personas that have nuances to help them be engaging. Luckily, all the characters return, so at least there's a cohesiveness to the series, and the director is also the same for each of these. But I gotta say, this movie is just incredibly dull. The dialogue is tiresome, and for some unknown reason, there are several sequences where the minutes are just filled with characters droning on in wildly uninteresting exchanges. The exposition is unnecessary, and it goes on entirely too long, making us feel every bit of the hour and 46-minute runtime, which is also too long. Occasionally there is some slapstick that breaks in to liven the mood and break up the monotony, but it's not enough to make this engaging. And the comedy, if you can call it that, will basically only entertain little children. Now, I love cheesy and even dumb movies, and I'm willing to overlook quite a lot if I can be entertained, even if the story's trash. This, though, failed to entertain me, and this is coming from somebody who enjoyed the first movie, and I thought the second one was okay. I wasn't looking for top-tier quality entertainment in this, but I was hoping for something that could at least hold my interest. I struggled through this because almost every part of it was unoriginal, and then made intolerable because of the banality. There is a sequence that involves some cloak and dagger where the characters have to overcome all sorts of obstacles in order to complete their mission. They are complementing scenes that are going on simultaneously, with one duo stealthily moving between lasers and then another duo performing a spirited tango. Now, the music was engaging and it fit really well, but the action was quite the opposite. And had it been entertaining, I wouldn't have even been annoyed that one scene is basically ripping off sequences from Entrapment, that movie with Sean Connery and Catherine Zeta-Jones. The whole premise of having three people that are identical could be a lot of fun, especially if the story had them all mixed up in crazy scenarios where they have to impersonate the other. The story attempted that here, but it wasn't successful in creating humor, tension, drama, and unfortunately even enjoyment. And I don't think the weakness of this movie is the fault of the actors. Each plays their roles pretty well, especially for what they're given. I do think that there are some times where Vanessa Hudgens could crank up her characters, especially with Fiona, but even as it is, she crafts enjoyable ones. The supporting cast dive into their roles, and the ones that always look like they're having the most fun are the ones who get to be utterly ridiculous and over the top. Now, the weakness of this movie is the story and the direction. We have a very basic story, but then that's tackled in a very safe way, every bit of it being a cookie-cutter faint reproduction of its predecessor. Now, weirdly, towards the end of the story, the film tries to take us on an emotional journey with Fiona. We're given a lot of her backstory in an attempt to give depth to a story that didn't really warrant it. The movie as a whole is shallow, so the inclusion of emotional dialogue and situations felt just really ill-placed. And then the resolution was rushed, so it was even odder to have it there. Truly, the best part of the movie is the end. Not only because the credits are rolling, but there's a music video of sorts with the cast just having a bunch of fun dancing around to music. So overall, this is an unfunny and dry family comedy. The acting is done proficiently, but the story doesn't provide anything compelling to keep us engaged. The dialogue is cringy, but worse is that the exposition goes on far too long, making this an utter chore to get through. My bar was set pretty low when it came to expectations for this, and somehow the story managed to be even worse. I enjoyed the first in this series, and I thought the second was cute, so if you're really in the mood to watch Vanessa Hudgens play multiple roles, I'd check out one of those and skip this one altogether. There's no sex, nudity, profanity, or violence, save for a little bit of slapstick humor. I give The Princess Switch 3: Romancing the Star 1 out of 5 couches. Are you watching any movies to get you in the holiday mood? If so, let me know what you're watching. I'd love to hear it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.